All right. So
I'm recording.
It's a little past 4 o'clock. 4:04, let's order. Oh, so sorry.
It's okay. I was gonna go tell you.
Oh, can we do a roll call before you do?
Amanda Korth. Hello. Chris Miller.
I'm here.
I've had Jason ring.
Oh, you already got it.
Jason Decker.
Here.
Joe Kozowitz.
Here.
Ashley Ryan.
Here. All right, approval of the agenda for our old business. We have the visitor guide update, business spotlight web form update, and a social media advertising update for our new business. Third quarter lodging tax report, the I-25 historic signage replacement, and a proposal for photo and video for Trinidad for marketing purposes. Miscellaneous from board members, discussion of the next agenda, and then adjournment.
No, you don't have to vote, as long as there's no
Is there
opposition.
no, anybody that wants to change anything?
And I do have one thing, Allison's here today to speak under public comment. She has a request for you all, and that is appropriate. We can't have a discussion about her request today, but she certainly can present her ideas.
So should we do that? It's
Yeah.
not necessarily in here, but should we do that first?
Yeah, I think we want to do that first.
Okay, great.
Just take one and pass it down. So I'm Allison Shoemaker with the Mitchell Museum, just right down the street. And what I'm passing out to y'all is our schedule for the year. And I listed 4 magazines that we have advertised in the past, but also have been featured in all of these magazines within the last year. True West named us top 5 Western art museums in the country. Cowboys and Indians did a feature on Mitchell. Western Art Collector just did a feature on our resident show. That is every year from October to the end of December. It's still hanging now. And Western Art and Architecture, we inadvertently were in their magazine in their last 2 editions from collectors that have a Mitchell piece in their collection, and they ended up talking about Arthur Mitchell without me even knowing about it till I got our magazine and flipped it open and said, oh my gosh, you know. And then it happened the next month, right after that. But with it, I put the amount that it costs to advertise in each of these magazines, what it costs to run one ad, what it costs to run in all of their editions throughout the year. True West has 10 editions a year. 2 months out of the year, they combine 2 months. So they have 10 editions. Cowboys and Indians has 8 editions. Western Art Collector is every month. And Western Art Architecture is 6 times a year. And like I said, we have advertised in all 4 of these. The reason that we feel like we are coming to you and asking for money is you can see from the calendar we have events 11 months out of the year on First Friday. And during that time, every quarter, we have a major featured event during that First Friday. The Uncommon Collective, the Colorado Printmakers, March to May, that is 25 artists from around Colorado that are coming to Trinidad for 3 nights. They'll stay at local hotels. That's 75 nights that the Mitchell is bringing in, and that's just the artist. That's not the people that are coming in with them or to see them, and that's hanging for March, April, and May. The Corn Mothers, we already had the opening for that, but I put that on here because it's up through May, so that's still. We had a couple come in today from New Hampshire. Their daughter lives in Colorado Springs, and they drove to Trinidad to spend the day just to come to the museum to see the Corn Mothers exhibit. Then June through August is character and context. I don't have a narrative for that one yet, but it's the largest show of illustration artists in the American West. That one's going to be another huge one, just like the printmaking. It's gonna be, and then our big kind of coup for the year is August through September is the Cowgirl Artists of America are having their annual show here in Trinidad at the Mitchell Museum. And then October through December is our resident show. Then at the bottom, you see Kill Fine Art, which is inside the Mitchell Museum. This is a collaboration between Cody and the museum. We run the gallery for him. He pays us rent. And then on top of that, he gives us 10% of his commission after his rent is paid. He just donates that back to the museum, which is lovely of him to do. And all that contemporary art in the Kill Fine Art Gallery really does get people off the street and into the museum. But we are averaging, this summer our average is a whole lot more, which we all know that, but yearly average for the museum is about 2,000 people per month coming into the museum. It's free to the public. Used to be a $5 cover charge to get in, but I took that off and our gift shop sales skyrocketed, our attendance skyrocketed, and so did our donations just by making it free to the public. But so I don't have a specific dollar amount asked, but just with this information, you can see even if we just advertised in one of these magazines, the one with the smallest circulation is $8,700, and that's only 6 ads. So advertising is a big part of our budget, and almost all of our advertising is outside of Trinidad. Almost all of it. Local, when we advertise locally, it's mainly Facebook, because that's what everybody locally is looking at to see what's going on. We've done newspaper advertising, and I'm a big proponent of newspaper advertising just because it supports the local newspaper. That's how I got to Trinidad, was running the local newspaper for 7 years. So we still do that, even though it doesn't really produce a whole lot of, a lot of people aren't seeing it. More people are seeing it on Facebook. And we can track those demographics. We can't track. We know what the circulation is locally, but we don't know who actually clicked on it or laid eyes on it or all that kind of stuff. Cowboys and Indians magazine is a good one. It's also the most expensive one because they send us monthly updates on how many people requested more information about the Mitchell Museum, how many people use their online platform to click through to our website. I love all those detailed.
That's Cowboys and Indians?
That's Cowboys and Indians.
So how are they requesting that? Oh, can we ask one? How are they requesting?
Yeah, you can ask questions, you all just can't really discuss anything amongst yourselves.
Do they go to the Cowboys and Indians website and say, I want more information on the air? So it's very specific.
It's very specific. Very, very specific. Even down to the demographic, who it is. That's because a lot of people, the people that have a subscription to Cowboys and Indians also, if they have a paper subscription, they also have the online subscription that comes with it. So they know who that subscriber is, where they're located. That magazine is published out of Dallas, Texas. It's funny because an old board member told me that Cowboys and Indians magazine was not our target demographic.
Absolutely.
How can Cowboys and Indians not be the target demographic for a museum that has a ton of cowboys and some Indians in the museum? But yeah, they're very specific with their information.
Another question. When they look at the magazine, is it the exact same monthly that they get? Do you know if they're looking at the magazine and then going online and making a request?
I don't know that. They're online when they're making their requests, so I don't know. It's a beautiful magazine.
Yes, I know.
So I like to, look at it when I get it, but some people don't, some people only want the online. And I think you can choose to only have an online subscription and not get it in print to it. There's a price difference, but Western Art Collector, they have 5 different publications, I think. There's Native American Art Collector, Western Art Collector, there's a whole bunch of them, because I get an email once a week from all of them at once. I get a whole, just, all the collector magazines. And I don't know, they do a lot of cross promotion on their website. They do shout outs on Facebook. They do a little more than just put your ad in their magazine and, go with it. Because I know just before Residence opened, they gave us a shout out on Instagram that, this is coming up and see it in our November edition of our magazine and all that kind of good stuff. I am available pretty much all the time at the museum, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. If you have any questions about anything, if you haven't been in or you don't know what we do there, we have one employee. Me, I'm also the snow shoveler and the janitor and the Ken does all the handyman stuff that I can't do at all.
You're the bartender.
The bartender, yeah, the whatever, all of that. So, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to come in, and it's free anyway to come in. And we have brim and corn mothers from the Smithsonian right now at the museum too.
Pretty awesome.
It is.
It really is. I had not listened to any of the stuff from Brim yet. I just looked at it and picked out my favorite hat.
Yeah.
But just about everybody that came in today. And on a random cold Tuesday in December, we had 43 people in today, and I closed 30 minutes early. But they were all scanning it, and I could hear the stories on their phones. At first, I was like, how rude. They're having a conference call on their phone, but no, they were listening to and interacting with the exhibit, and I loved that. So,
Do you mind if I add a couple things?
go ahead.
Okay, so the city feels very strongly that Mitchell is a huge asset to our community. It's worth mentioning, the city actually has never given any money to the Mitchell, and kudos to Allison.
Tourism board
Tourism board,
has.
yeah.
We got $3,000
It's been
earlier
minimal.
this year.
Yeah.
It's all been $2,000 to $3,000 tourism grants
Yeah.
for advertising.
Okay, that's right, I forgot about that, but I think what's really important, one of the big things that recently happened is Doc Lowe's building burned down because of a fire, well, obviously. I don't want to get into the details of it, but anyway, the building, it affected the Mitchell, so there's this actually really cool back area behind the building that mechanical, but it was
First State Gallery.
No,
Yeah,
this
it
is.
was under the first.
This is like,
First State Gallery.
yeah, no one's allowed in there, it's secret access, but it's like, the supports that hold up the hill that it's built against are incredible. But what happened was about 18 inches of mud, because of us putting out the fire, flooded that area, and it tore down the wall, because Doc Lowe's building and the Mitchell shared a wall. So it's a huge, very expensive repair.
About $2.5 million.
Right. So what's happened to Mitchell, I gotta look at all the details though, is obviously not their fault. Doc Lowe was unfortunately not insured. So,
Thankfully, we were.
but Mitchell was. So Mitchell's insurance is paying the claim, however, they've also told them that we're dropping them. So what that
They
means.
dropped us, and now we're uninsurable because
Yeah.
they dropped us in the middle of the
They
claim
have a claim.
while there's still a structural issue. So then we can't get coverage on the building.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be an issue to get coverage on the building after it's fixed because we haven't had coverage
There's a
for
gap.
6 months. So it's just a weird.
And at the end of the day, it's going to cost them significantly more than they have been paying. So what I would say is we have, in the new ordinance, 10% of the revenue goes to arts and cultural amenities and supporting that. So it would be appropriate to think about authorizing some funding to help out the Mitchell. We also do have the benefit of still having some of our reserves that we're hoping to spend down, so that would be another option out of lodging tax. But in my opinion, it's 100% part of the spirit of the ordinance, and I really think the Mitchell is one of the premier places that has the potential and already does attract people to come here and maybe stay at a hotel and enjoy the town. So we want to see them be successful. So what I would say is, and I'll talk to you a little bit about this further when we get to third quarter lodging tax report, I'm going to ask that we can maybe forego the 26th meeting, which is right around the holidays, and move that up and do a special budget work session. And I'll talk about why we're so late in the game when I talk about the third quarter lodging tax report. But what we'll do is bring this request as part of that. But I wanted Allison to come kind of tell you about what they're doing, so you guys had that information going into it when we talked to you about funding.
And just two more quick points.
Please.
We've been open for 42 years. We're not brand new. We've been doing this for a really long time. I've been the director, February will be 6 years. But, and it is part of our mission statement that we not only market and continue Mitchell, but Trinidad is in our mission statement because Mitchell did that. Mitchell would bring all of his buddies from New York to Trinidad for the summer, and he really was an ambassador for Trinidad, and the museum is too. It is our mission statement that part of marketing the museum is marketing Trinidad too. I did Ken did a tenant podcast recently. I did one this fall, and I'd say a good 20% of it is me talking about Trinidad and what all we have going on. Of course, they recorded it before everything got canceled, but I was like, I talked about Artocade, I talked about, because it is what the museum is, what part of our mission is to do.
And the Mitchell will be part of our ultimate goals for Destination Colorado, where we put our event spaces. And I'd love to see us really partner with you all. So if we have like a major conference here, it'd be really cool if there was like a subset of that. And I want to go have dinner or something, make it, rent out your place for
Our
social
capacity is around 700.
That's pretty
That is not the capacity of our bathrooms. We do have architectural plans. I just need to trip over a bag of $100,000 bills to get that bathroom renovation done. But that is on our list of priorities, is to get those bathrooms redone so it can accommodate what the building. And that's just on the first 2 floors. Our 3rd floor is artist workspaces, and we've only got 3 vacancies right now. Everything else is full. So, and we make them pretty dang cheap, so local artists can afford them and have a place to work.
Yeah. Awesome. Are your bathrooms, as they stand now, they're accessible, correct?
Barely.
Barely, okay.
By like 1984 standards. We have 2 toilets in the women's bathroom, 1 toilet, and a iffy urinal in the men's bathroom. And that's it for the whole
For 700
space.
possible.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So when we have a large event, even if 200, I have a mop and bucket on standby because a chain is going to do something, or the limitation of my plumbing is that I can make a toilet stop running or I can unplug it pretty quickly. But I'm just kind of standing there checking them every 30 minutes or so, going, are we still good? Are we still good? But or I'll send somebody into the men's bathroom and say, clear it out for me. I gotta flush the urinal with a pitcher of water. But they're clean. But that's what we're dealing with. I mean, the building is a 1906 department store that we haven't changed a whole lot. The bathrooms were renovated in 1980.
Your building and my house were built in the same way.
So
Mine too.
would it be proper protocol then to ask Allison to fill out a funding request form like we do for most everything, and that way we can follow all the dynamics of it with, budget and that kind of stuff, and just get it formal?
I guess that's a question for board members. I think that would be really helpful because then you have it in black and white.
If we have a process, let's use it.
Yeah, I believe everyone should probably follow the same
Okay,
process.
we will absolutely.
We can do that. I mean, we have our schedule for the year, we have our budget for the year, we have all, that's not difficult to get you way more information than you ever thought.
It's a pretty simple
It's
form, and
very-
then you have a lot of it already spelled out.
Right, it's a simple format, formatted on the grants that were given out by the tourism board formally, previously.
Yeah.
The only difference is basically is you don't have to follow the advertising and marketing guidelines that were in place then.
Our budget is about 250 to 300,000 a year, depending on what's going on. $20,000 can fit anywhere in that budget, but we do a whole lot with a little bit. And I mean, you can walk in anytime and see what's going on. And I mean, it's just such a good place. I've never woken up and gone, oh,
Yeah,
I gotta go in that stupid building again, and I love it. But thank you for letting me talk to y'all, and really, if you have any questions, just holler at me.
I'll send you that competition.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and I'll
you.
invite Allison to talk about budget for next year, and so that way if you have questions for her.
And if you have any questions about how much it costs to put on any of these events, and, just because we do 11 events on First Friday, then we do our fundraiser, then we do other people's fundraisers, then weddings, renting out tables and chairs.
That's another thing I need
part of the
to
budget.
get with you, is all the criteria for, is an event space.
Yep.
So I can put it on the form and I put it
It's also on
together.
our website.
It's all on the
Yep,
website?
it's on our website. Yeah, but sometimes people still have questions. Most of the, pretty much every time somebody wants to book an event, they still call and ask questions, so
That's all.
feel free. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
And since we have a public comment session,
Yeah.
can you
Sure.
Buddy deal.
So I'll just start by seconding a lot of what it is that Allison said. I really dig that. So we're one of the people that have a studio space up on the 3rd floor, and it's, we renovated those. We've got 2 left, so it's nice to see, artists and creative types taking advantage of what I would definitely agree is below market rates for those spaces. 24/7 access, security, not what it was in its former days. But definitely some energy coming back in there. So opening, our first 2 opening days were pretty good. December 1st down at the Mitch, we had about 400 people by their estimate come through between 5 and 8. Buddy and Jody's first appearance. Had a good time that night. Saturday, by any measure, was anywhere from this is good to, oh my goodness, this is spectacular, depending upon who you were, when you were there, what was going on. I'd say we probably had the same number of people on Saturday as we had on opening night, same 400 over 10 hours, which was an incredibly long day. So I just want to hats off to staff and volunteers. I mean, ridiculous amount of overtime not accounted for, hours and energy poured into this thing. So I can't say enough about that. The reason that I'm here today is that one of the assets that we have access to as a result of hosting the Smithsonian is that Smithsonian has a platform called Museums on Main Street, and it is designed to receive content generated from traveling exhibitions such as Crossroads Trinidad. And so right now I'm emailing back and forth with the 2 people that oversee that opportunity for the Smithsonian. And we should, by the end of today or probably tomorrow, have an account where we can upload the video, audio, the kinds of content that that platform is designed to receive and showcase. We've already got 21 pieces of content that are in the can, ready to upload. To my knowledge, nobody that has hosted Crossroads yet has taken advantage of that. I'm sure that nobody that hosted Crossroads is champing at the bit to upload 21 pieces of content. 18 of them are the recorded stories from Brim. which we've also uploaded to a YouTube channel, so we're releasing one of those every day. The thing, I think in order to really fully leverage and I guess I have questions. My understanding from 2 meetings ago, or at some point, was that there was more interest in us stepping into whichever century, is it 21? 20, stepping into 21st century in terms of marketing and getting Trinidad out there. So I want to offer, and you know, it's a question, does the board feel as though us putting Trinidad Smithsonian up into the Smithsonian platform like that fits, or is a component of more attention coming to Trinidad? I don't know the sort of facts, figures, and numbers on that platform, but it exists. We're about to have 9 more pieces of content, which I guess gets us to 30 right off the bat. 18 Brim stories, the 3 videos that we produced for the story share, and then Tom/Zach live streamed our Blue Sage story share on Saturday night. So they're going to send us that, and we're going to tease out the components of that performance and presentation and upload it as well. So that'll be our next one. Right now, the 3 videos are in our first cubicle. There's just the 3 videos, but probably as soon as we get the files from Tom, we'll have 9 more. So that'll be 9, 10, 11, 12 video clips.
Brett's piece.
And Brett's piece, which was the AI sort of meta response to response on opening night. And then we're also going to be putting the shorts from the Echoes of History Trinidad Historic Preservation Board. So they've broken their hour-plus documentary down into 5-minute clips. So after that premieres at Tri-C, we'll be putting those 5-minute clips in there. That may qualify. I'm not. We'll see. The only thing that's missing is we need a touchscreen kiosk interface somewhere in this building, so that when people walk in, it says Museum on Main Street, Smithsonian, yada yada yada, and people can access not only the content that we put up, but other content as well. So I just want to make you aware that that resource exists, the content exists. The only thing that the next piece is the interface. I haven't done any research on that, but if that falls into tourism and Trinidad and exposure, then I can offer you content.
Couple of questions, Ken. So the way I'm understanding it, this is an online platform that they're offering to us to upload our local content that would have basically a worldwide audience.
Yes.
So I mean, to me, I don't think that competes with other outreach issues.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I figured it was, but you know, the big
Cost
thing.
anything?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's
No-brainer.
one of the benefits of hosting
How long would it be there? Indefinitely?
in perpetuity, as long as the Smithsonian is around.
And can we
I guess
add
the apocalypse.
And then I guess one other thing would be, so just thinking outside the box, we have our video footage now, our 3D walkthrough of the Fox Theater. Would that be appropriate?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know how much latitude we have for uploading, but I was talking with Anissa about this today, and it might be, my understanding is that there may have been interest in a touchscreen kiosk from tourism for other purposes. We might be able to.
Is it one across the street?
It's not a touchscreen.
It's not touched.
Now
Yeah,
it's
so-
managed on the back end and we
But like
can
something
upload
for
stuff
inside.
to it.
Yeah, something for, it might be something for inside, or, and it might be dual purpose. It might be one of those screens that you can go up to and go, oh, Museum on Main Street,
Right.
Smithsonian, click,
That'd be great.
you know, places to go eat dinner, click. I don't know what all can be put into that one POS, but if nothing else, we are out the gate ready to put more Smithsonian Crossroads content up there than anybody else that has hosted this exhibit, so.
A couple things. One is just So it sounds like that lives in a specific place. I'd be curious if you could share a link out with us to check it out. But
Yes.
does the Smithsonian ever put a spotlight on these exhibits from like just their general social media accounts and things?
So I haven't had a phone call with Smithsonian yet. It's, it's a couple, 2-3 days to get an email response. So I'm like nursing the relationship to get to a phone call, because I have a lot of those, like, do you have any numbers, like how many people are using it? Like, is it a nice idea, or does it really function and do its job? I don't know the answer to that question, but if I were gonna spend any money on an interface, I'd wanna know, like, would be, nice to have a touch screen out there, but is it getting at what we hope to get at? So I'll find out. Those are the kinds of questions I can ask and get an answer on, better than, hiding behind a 3-day lag time for a response. But if there's a way to leverage it and make it really work, then I would be more interested in that. I don't think we need a touch screen because we lack screens. Like, it would be a tool that got us somewhere. And we're just on our end, we're ready to make that thing hum.
I think it's safe to say, Ken, you have authorization to move forward. And then, if you do want to discuss purchasing a touchscreen, that type of thing, I think it's great for you to come back, give us an update of your efforts to make that request.
I'll do a little research. One thing that I did ask them is, what touchscreens are other people using that if other people have already done the work on this, then I just like to use the best solution that's already been tested and replicated, or, use it as our prototype, and, maybe ours needs to be a little bigger or a little smaller or in a box.
The Colorado Tourism Office is redoing each of the 10 Colorado Welcome Centers throughout the state. And they're installing touchscreens in those, and they've done the research on what is best for them. So maybe I can
It's still gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get 2 of them.
Yeah, and, I guess the next question is, if these, we can find these things at a price point, like, does it make sense to have them, in more than one place, or is there a dual purpose thing that we can really take advantage of?
Actually, I brought something to me earlier today before the meeting about the tourism management grant. We were looking at what types of, capital type things that we could purchase with that, since we already have a visitor guide, we have an advertising and marketing agency. And so what can we use that for? We were talking about kiosks specifically. We thought maybe wrapping the current one, but that's not gonna fit the guidelines for that grant. So maybe this is something we can use this grant for, as a touchscreen kiosk.
Yeah, and I would just say that the story share component of this, I think, has some secret magic to it. One, people really resonate. I mean, just those stories about hats. Like, I've been getting messages from people that are just like, I was reading those, and when they listen to the podcast, they hear, like, behind the bells and whistles, what are we hoping to gain from doing our best with Smithsonian. Some of that is, what Allison was speaking to, and she did the same podcast I did, which was, we've lost, and I referenced this in this interview, that we've lost some real gems. And the Smithsonian is an opportunity to fill some of that, keep and build momentum, and demonstrate that we have the capacity to execute on something of this magnitude. We weren't perfect, but, we're pretty darn good.
So I'd move forward, and then maybe if you can get the link to the program. And
So can I just send that to you and then everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that before I walk out the door.
Awesome.
And then you'll see what I've seen.
Good.
We'll take it.
You said it only takes 2 or 3 days to get an email back from them?
Yeah.
That's better than some people I don't.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
begrudgingly slow from my face, but, yes, that's what I have. Anybody has any
So
questions?
this kiosk would be a touchscreen kiosk dedicated to the Smithsonian.
Well, initially, I mean, in terms of Museum of Friends,
Yeah.
but it, I don't know enough about these
Would
things.
it be considered something to help for wayfinding?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that suggestion, if we could have a map of downtown,
Yeah.
and you click on the button for restaurants, and they pop up, and like, kind of like a mall directory.
Yeah.
So they need to pay for their spot or no?
What's that?
Do they need to pay for their listing or no? This is all funded, okay.
No, I think this is part of our approach to help out tourism and our businesses, so.
I mean, once it's, sort of a one and done type deal, unless,
Yeah.
Armageddon.
Jason, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm following along.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
You bet.
Thanks for all your work too.
Absolutely.
All right, on to old business. First up is visitor guide updates.
Visitor guide, I am on page 16 of 64 pages. Uploading rewrites. I'm trying to get, Blaine was supposed to get me a way to send the photo files to co-marketing so they can pick and choose files out of there so that we know what we have and what we need to acquire. If there's new photos that we need to acquire, have somebody take or whatever. They are sending me the mock-ups for the front page and the inside pages. And so I should have those by early next week. It's rolling.
Is this still gonna have, because the old one had an inside pocket, right, like on the back?
It'll
Is
still
that
have the restaurant, the kangaroo pocket on the back of the restaurant bag. And that is something that we print locally, so that I just said that to Ron. And Jeff and I, keep track of what's open, what's closed, things like that. We don't have hours in there, but we do have contact information, so it's pretty comprehensive and up to date. That's the easiest way to do that. We'll keep the inside fold-out map of the city. We'll keep the trolley map in the middle as well. Everything else, it's just gonna have a new look. And basically, it's gonna be based on the former guide. Not a whole lot of changes to the formatting, just the content. So it's coming, it's getting there. We're hoping, fingers crossed, for a completion date of March 30th. And then we'll send it to the printers, and then we should have something in time for tourism.
Any other questions? Jason, you have any questions?
Hello?
I do not. Thank you.
No worries. Next up is the business spotlight web form update. Is that correct?
Yeah, we probably need to wait for Marty to both of these.
We can skip over, and she can, I assume
So
she's doing the
those-
social media advertising update as well.
So do we, let's then just jump into new business.
Okay.
Third quarter lodging tax report.
Yeah, so I want to start by saying we're putting together some semblance of a budget for next year with brand new line items, because obviously the ordinance is a totally different structure than it was before. And we have placeholders in there, we've allocated the pots of money, but I want to get that in front of you guys before December 19th, which is when the council will approve the final budget. I realize that's coming up quickly, that's next week. So we can certainly send it out to you all, and you can give us comment back electronically, that's an option. But if there is any possibility that we could meet later this week to go over that, even if it's a virtual meeting, that would be terrific. And let me explain to you the delay, because I would have loved to have gotten this to you sooner, but it ties in with this item. The new hotel, they didn't provide their third quarter lodging tax report to us until last Wednesday. And that was a key piece of information. Before we received that, we were showing that we were 13% down in lodging tax compared to third quarter last year. And we really want to fine tune our budget projections so we know how much money we're looking at for next year. So that was a key piece of information. I'm happy to report we got that the third quarter report from the new hotel. With that, we are actually up 2% third quarter compared to this time last year. And to me, that's a really important thing, because that's without having the Blues Fest, that's without having Articade. So what the data is saying is that those events, certainly they had an impact, especially for our businesses, but we're not necessarily seeing that reflecting in lodging tax. However, I don't doubt that the hotels might be increasing their prices, which can also precipitate more lodging tax. But the revenue, at least generally distributed between the hotels, is up a little bit compared to last year for third quarter. Fourth quarter may be a different story. And the last thing I'll say, and certainly answer any questions, is there's different opinions, but some people feel like the new hotel should have impacted business from the existing hotels, and then some people feel the new hotel pulled business away from existing hotels. I don't know, we don't have that direct data, but overall, in general terms, looks like we're having hopefully about the same number of hotel stays we were last year.
I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
please
just
go
got
ahead.
excited.
I know. Get excited.
Okay,
It's a relief.
I did like 11 years in the hotel industry, and I can tell you that if you're not selling rooms, you're lowering prices, not raising them.
Okay, that's good.
So, I don't think they're gonna raise prices and make a difference, they've got to be selling more rooms.
That's great news. Good.
Secondly, do we share this information with the hoteliers? Because, there's been a lot of
Yeah, that's not the story that they're telling.
I realize that.
And I wanna make sure that they hear the good news.
Yes.
That we can share that with them.
I shared it directly with a woman hotelier who I will not name, but who tends to be the voice of that community.
I just wanna make sure that they know.
And her first name was
Hey,
what,
look, it's not like that.
Exactly. So yes, Sai and I did have a conversation. I did let her know that. We've also announced student council meetings as well, so we're trying to get the word out. It's very important. Again, fourth quarter could come in and maybe it'll tank. I don't know. But one of the things that I would like, in looking at lodging tax for us as, well, you all as a board, I'd really love to see some data. If there's any way, and maybe it's a conversation with the hoteliers, if we can kind of segregate out who's staying in Trinidad to be in Trinidad versus who's just staying to pass through, I think that would be huge information for us. There's accusations that you all and us are not doing enough to market and promote the city, and so that causing the hotels to suffer. From our perspective at the city, again, this is all anecdotal. We feel that the general hotel stays are maybe for some business reasons, but we don't feel like it's a lot because people are coming to Trinidad to go to the Mint or hang out downtown. I'm sure there's some of that, but I think the vast majority of the hotel stays are people who are traveling through to get to somewhere else. So I think one of the things we need to talk about is how do we captivate, how do we capitalize on that? If you're spending an evening here, come have an evening downtown, you're already here. But I'll stop there, but third quarter lodging tax, we're very happy, at least from the city side. And I guess from you being in the hotel industry, you don't have to answer this, but I'm curious. To me, it just makes sense. If you build a new hotel, people who've been coming through here for a while are going to want to check out the new hotel, and that might cause other hotels to see less business. Does that seem reasonable?
It does. I mean, it's just like any place that's brand new. If they opened a Chick-fil-A here in Trinidad, the line would be around the building. No one would go to McDonald's or KFC. They all want to go try out the new. So the new thing, yes, I would say I could see how that would work. But if we're up 2% overall for the third quarter, I don't know that it's having that much of an impact.
Third quarter does have the RAD in there, which is, their numbers are up year-over-year as well, so that's additional rooms booked right there.
True.
Yeah, but not over last year.
Yeah, it's there,
They're just making up for it.
Yeah.
Trinidad,
Several hundred newer riders.
Well, the way I looked at it, we had about 750 in attendance last year for the Rad Fest, and then we had about 1,000 this year. So there's probably 250 additional people.
And let's also figure in that last year we didn't have the fairgrounds area for any camping, so they could.
There was a lot of camping.
This year we had the fairgrounds and a lot of them did some camping out at the fairgrounds, so.
And that's something I was gonna mention in relation to you wondering about the data for tourist bookings versus traveler bookings. Is that a lot of those folks who are coming here to do Trinidad-y things, they're probably booking Airbnbs and they're staying at the lake.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean that we should also be chasing that info though, because all of that is very valuable to them.
Yeah.
My experience in Texas, the hoteliers, they do talk together a lot, but they don't share a lot.
Yeah, they don't want to,
Because-
and that's fair.
And so they may be talking and each having somebody to point to, well, my business is down, but they're not gonna.
I will never share with you all individual hotel results because we're not allowed to, nor would I want to. That's private proprietary business information, but I can definitely give you overall numbers.
What about, do you guys receive actual visitor counts versus just the revenues?
We just get the gross revenues and then the percentage of lodging tax based on that.
To your question about knowing whether somebody stays here on the way someplace else, is that something that they can do? Is there like a uniform registration form for?
No, but it's
When
kind of
Trinidad-
like versus, one night versus 2 nights. I mean, that would constitute an overnight stay.
Oh,
And there may not be a very scientific way, but maybe there is, but anything we can do, I just think that helps you all make better decisions.
There's a possibility too of maybe us, again, to try to, squelch the BS about, we're not doing anything, is go to the hoteliers and say, can you start tracking this for us? Check, just ask the question, have your, are you just passing through or what, and give us some kind of figures that we can take and work on. And that shows that we're working with them, and we are been working with them, and it shows some effort there on our parts.
Yeah, single night versus multiple nights is a good piece of intel.
Yeah.
We could probably get some of this from our cell phone tracking
Yeah.
as well, which we haven't really gotten into yet as a board. We've talked about it a few times. So that platform may provide some of this where it's like, if it's it's obviously not a cell that lives in town. We can show up and stay one night and leave. They probably came here.
The marketing firm might be able to track.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
It's in that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, I've got a couple of points that I wanted to add. One is, I know that Trinidad actually has a really high percentage of stays that come in that are like government contracts and that kind of stuff. I know that was a study that I looked at, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do a hotel in Trinidad, because the occupancy is typically really high, and it's kind of just guaranteed bookings, especially the ones over off of the highway. Another thing is, after speaking with a lot of people last week at the tourism conference, business owners downtown and the hoteliers, one thing is that a lot of the hoteliers were saying they were down about 20%, but we also added about 20% more rooms overall with the Hilton. So it kind of makes sense that distributed a little bit, and it's good to hear that we were up overall, but for everyone to remain full, we're going to have to grow more as tourism. But it was really nice to hear that we were at least on par or up just a little bit.
Yeah.
One more point is that a lot of the downtown businesses don't feel like people staying on the highway are coming into town.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to track, but I would probably agree with that. But we do have a really nice new van that I'm not sure it's ever been used. It's definitely underutilized at the least, and there was some way we could set up like a trolley type system to pick people at the hotels and bring them downtown. I think that could be a use for it. So it's not just sitting there. So that's just probably a thought for another day. But that could be a way to get people to come in that are just passing through, that weren't planning on going to Trinidad, and maybe it's a way to bring them downtown so they can spend some money down there.
So to your point, Jason, on the van and shuttling project, the tourism board instituted a program where we didn't have the van at the time, and that's exactly why it was purchased.
Yeah.
Was to shuttle
Hotel guests.
hotel guests to downtown for different events and stuff. That was the whole project was based on not using the trolley anymore for that, because it's hard to navigate the trolley downtown. So the idea was, let's buy a van. And so this summer, I think, well, before this summer, we should put together kind of, let's look at the model that we had for shuttling hotel guests. We had a route established, different stops where we would start at the La Quinta, pick up at the Holiday Inn, pick up at the Days Inn, I mean, all the highway hotels, and bring people downtown for First Friday art walks, for different events, things like that. So that is the sole purpose for purchasing that van. So yes, that's what it's going to be used for. We just have to get it going again.
We need to bring that discussion to you all. My only thing, and we can talk about it then, but I just want to make sure that we're being equitable. So I would say we would ask each hotel if they want to opt in, and then we'll craft a route that would hit all of those, but everyone deserves to have the option.
Right, and that's what we did. We approached every one of the hotels.
Where are the Airbnbs in town? Are any of them like in one particular area?
They're all over the place.
They're all over the place.
VRBO, just so everyone knows.
We're not including them until they give us our lodging.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, they're not paying lodging
Okay,
tax.
sorry, yeah.
And that is a discussion we need.
Airbnb does.
I thought Airbnb does,
Airbnb
it's just
does.
VRBO does not.
VRBO does not. Airbnb actually comes from Airbnb itself. So the individual users report it to Airbnb, and then Airbnb, on behalf of everyone, provides us.
That's also good ammo for my online debates.
There you go, Jason.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. So the other J.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions on third quarter lodging tax? And then when we get to item 7, we can talk about maybe the possibility of having a special meeting to get there. But we'll go back to Marty's items if you guys are.
Any questions on that? No? All right.
Maybe we can't go back.
I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. Next on new business is the I-25 historic signage replacement.
Is that?
I just
You guys
want
covered?
to know.
Is that the ones that were vandalized?
Oh, yeah, I can talk about that. So, yeah, I don't know if you've all seen this, I'll have to ask around. We got these postcards that someone sent to the council. So these signs are on that overlook there on Raton Pass as you're coming down.
Wow,
I
that's
just-
what
I
a snarky
just
way
saw
to
that.
provide feedback.
I know.
Yes.
It's outrageous.
I know, it's awful. How does that help? But we're jumping around, Marty, but we're on the I-25 historic sign replacement.
Okay, so this is a photo
Yeah,
that I got from City Hall. Who
we
gave it to
we
you
don't
guys?
even know. They just
Okay.
came up with this.
Robert
You got a
Swicker.
stack.
Oh,
You got a stack of them,
We
right?
got-
It wasn't just one.
but
Right,
yeah.
so, well, I got one from City Hall. They got a stack of them.
Yeah.
We do. But anyway,
You guys
so-
want it? I have some in my office.
so these, this signage was put up by Colorado Byways in conjunction with CDOT. And each location that received the signage, it was a grant, no individual city got any kind of money. It went to CDOT and Colorado Byways provided it. And so, but the signage itself was then given to the city in that location. So those signs belong to the city of Trinidad. And so I've been in contact with a lady that promoted this whole project. Her name is Judy Walden. She works for the Mills Group. And she said that Kelly Hepler is in possession of the original design for the metal pieces that went in. And so I could get those reproduced. We would also have to sand the wood. It's not finished wood, it's a raw wood. So we would have to sand that. And then CDOT is responsible, obviously, for the railing, the guardrails and stuff, so that's their project. We need to get those down, for starters. I mean, sooner than later. So I'm working on getting in contact with who takes those down for me. She said it's just, and I have a meeting with her on Thursday. She said there's a couple of screws in the back, and so it might just be, somebody that I know or one of us or whatever that just runs up there and unscrews them and takes them out, pops them out. And better they're empty than
Who
have
would
that.
spend the
So-
money on a piece like this instead of just coming in and saying, hey, we need to fix that on the postcard?
Oh,
You could
yeah.
secretly be a company that owns a power washer.
I'm wondering if they would local print or printables.
Yeah, they
No,
probably,
they were not
they
printable.
probably printed it at Walmart or something.
Yeah, but
But
still.
anyway,
it's
so
in bottom
The
line.
thought is, we're gonna have to get those replaced, we're gonna have to allocate some funding from somewhere.
How much?
Don't know yet. I
Okay.
don't know, I can't, I'm waiting for Kelly Heckler to get a hold of me to give me the costs of the original printing, but, they have a coating now where you can spray these and you can just wash them off. So if they do have, if we do get graffiti on them again, we can clean them without having to replace them. Unfortunately, that wasn't done the first time around.
Was the state gonna come in and fix the back road?
Hindsight,
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, it is. So that would up the cost a little bit to have this, it's a clear coat of something that you just wash off.
As long as the guardrail has this kind of graffiti, it's
They'll-
gonna encourage people to be
Right.
back on the signs.
Right,
The state needs to fix that, so.
Right.
Before we put the new ones in.
yeah, absolutely.
I would certainly be in favor of that. My question is, can we fold it into a larger signage effort? Because we've already been talking about signage and wayfinding, where if we approve like a larger budget, I don't want to slow this up. But if we maybe go out to try and source grant funding or anything like that, we might be able to have it as part of like our overall 2024 signage
But
project.
we might, but when you start adding different, things into a grant, different projects and different locations, it complicates the grant, and the tendency is to not approve the grants. I only know that because, the Boulevard Edition, when they applied for their grant, they had signage all over the place, and I don't know what went wonky with that, but they did not get their grant. And it was because it had so many different, we want to do this at this location, and we want to do a different signage program over here. It was all signage, but it was different types of signage in different locations, so let's look at that before we
Sure.
move forward with that.
The city owns those 3 signs,
Yes,
then when Steve gets back, why can't we have you get one of the city departments to go and take them down?
oh yeah, absolutely,
Just take them down here.
Yeah.
And then we can go through the process of replacing.
right.
Yeah, I'm definitely game with that. So right now, how are we supporting, I mean, you mentioned somebody has to go take them down.
Right.
The long as the city,
Yeah,
when
they
Steve
belong
gets
to
here,
the city.
why
He
can't
has
it
a
be
point.
the department?
Should be the parks guys, I
Yeah, we'll
guess.
have it.
Yeah, give Jared
Screwdriver.
a screwdriver.
Yeah, I see,
Yeah,
I mean, I see people,
Field trip.
is that right at the Welcome to Colorado sign?
No, Welcome to Colorado sign is right at the top of the pass. These
No,
are
there's
coming
scenic
down,
overlook.
and there's a scenic overlook there.
That's at the overlook. I've never stopped at that overlook, so I've never saw it.
You know what's funny is Jared travels that every day when he's coming into town. He said he'd never seen it.
I actually went to Return the other day and I saw it on the way. I didn't know it was ours. I
Yeah.
had to make Marcus pull over.
So as soon as I get some data from Kelly Heckler on the cost and all the details on that, then we can move forward with some kind of,
Let me know, we'll put it on the agenda.
costs and stuff, okay?
Yeah, but it'd be so easy just to take them down, so at least it's not.
Yeah, in the
The date.
meantime, should we try, you wanna see if we can get Jared to go out there again?
When Steve gets back, let's just
Let's
ask
take,
him.
yeah, I'll ask him if he can ever sit down.
And get a can of silver paint and spray over the graffiti on the rail, just because the state will take forever.
Okay, that's all I have, right?
Okay, so we're not voting on anything right now, so we'll just, put a pin in that question for Steve about getting someone to actually go take it down, and move on to the proposal for photo and video of Trinidad for marketing purposes, which I believe was added by Jason.
That was, so I emailed it to everyone on the board earlier today. It should be in your email if you had a chance to take a look at it. But essentially, we hired a marketing agency, which is fantastic. We'll be starting soon, but I think as soon as they get on, we're going to ask them to do social media content. It's going to be a problem because we don't have much or nearly enough, and most of what we have is very outdated. So I have a quote from Jeff Montoya. He's local in Trinidad, from Trinidad. Really great photographer, videographer, digital marketer, web guy, that kind of stuff. So I have a quote for him to do 50 photographs of Trinidad and highlight some of our tourism destinations, really whatever we want him to focus on, and it can give us, like a regular photo, and then we can have it edited so it fits perfectly in social media, so it looks really nice. $500 for 50 photos is very, very, very affordable. As well as video, which I think is super, super vital for us. I think it's come up multiple times before, just how bad our reputation is on like YouTube and video platforms. We just don't have much video. We had a video made about 6 years ago for Trinidad, which it is nice, it's just really outdated. So this would be to create like a 2 to 3 minute video, which could be used for dozens of different things. It could be used for ads, just for YouTube, and then from this video to help try to offset some of the bad publicity and things. So when people search for us on YouTube and other platforms, this shows up. But also to create social media short reels, which is super popular right now. You can use them on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and we would use just the same video that was from there, and 10 of those are included with Jeff's quote, including all the video, editing, all this kind of stuff, which is super, super affordable. Yeah, I just want to see what everyone thought of this. So, any questions? Yeah.
You picked a good photographer. He's got a good reputation, and I trust your opinion of using him.
I love that, but we need digital assets anyway. And
Yeah.
that's a really good price, $500 for 50 images.
Yeah, and then just 2,000 for the video. That's yeah.
One thing that came up, sorry to cut you off, Jeff. One thing that came up last week is we were talking about assets, and I would bet if we had our new agency come down and do this kind of stuff, I would expect probably 2, 3, 4 times the price for this kind of stuff. But I would love to have them ready to go, right as they're getting started with some actual content, and we can get a jump start on the summer.
I agree.
Yeah, we need it for sure. My one question would be, can we get all of his B-roll? Like, is the deliverable only going to be this edited video and the shorts, or can he hand over like the raw footage? Because if we just dump that in a drive somewhere, our agency can use it, we could use it down the road. Yeah, it would be nice to have.
Bob is on board. He wants to promote Trinidad as much as possible. He'll give us everything he has. And I know he's done some other stuff with the city for like a historic preservation type thing, and he has some other video assets for some of his clients. I'm sure anything that's not like personal property of anyone, he would give us, including all this we could have. And that was also the idea. So he can give us 10 shorts that we can start posting right away. But then, hopefully our new agency will be able to go in and just take the video and make more shorts as it's ongoing, more video posts, that kind of stuff. So it's just it's a way to get started on content. So yes, to answer your question, Joe.
Cool.
We would own all this stuff and just have all
Jason,
video
can I-
that we can do whatever we want with it.
Jason, can I ask a question real quick, please?
Yes.
Would all the materials that he's providing become the property of the city of Trinidad? Or would he maintain,
For this
ownership?
project, yes.
okay,
Yeah, absolutely. We would own all this. We'd be able to do whatever we want. It's our property 100%. If he gave us some of his other stuff, I'm honestly not sure. I'd have to ask him, but
okay,
I don't think that he would mind.
okay, it just
kind of depends on what it is.
I wasn't able to see the proposal, but if you could make sure that that is in the part of the proposal, that it becomes the property of the city of Trinidad.
Sure,
That would
we'll
be-
do. If it's not on there, it doesn't look like it's on there. I can have him edit that.
Okay,
Only
But we did talk about it.
yeah, $2,500, we don't have to take it to the council, we just, if we vote to go for it, go for
You still have to take it to council.
it. Huh?
You still have to take it to council. If you accept it, you still have to take it to council. You don't have the authority to spend any money. It's just and it's real simple. It's not that big a deal. It's like,
Yeah.
this is what we'd like to do. It's
No
not,
rubber stamp it.
Yeah,
It's just-
yeah, I
it's
mean,
not a big
that's,
deal.
my
Things like
discussions
that.
with him are different, but
Yeah, and I might even be able to say, Steve, can we just approve this and not take it to council and use it and go forward with my approval? Then we can do that as well. So
Yeah.
we can do that.
Okay, yeah, I guess that would be the next question is, can we vote on it? Do we have to put on the next agenda to vote? Like, what would be the next step forward if we,
It's on the
sounds like we
agenda.
want to move forward, but yeah, what would be the
I just
step?
have a question. For something like this, we don't have to put out an RFP,
What's the cost on it again, Jason?
$2,500.
It's basically set up as two different proposals. One is 500 and the other is 2,000.
So the 500, we do not need an RFP. The 2,000, we probably do.
What's the cutoff?
except for
$1,000 or?
except for the fact we're going on a quality of work, and telling them, what we need.
I think it's a hard line city policy based
Yeah,
on dollar amount.
it's
I
based
thought
on
it
the
was
dollar
over
amount.
What is that
10K.
dollar amount?
I thought it was 10.
Is Steve still in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Jack there?
Well,
Let me get this quick question done. I know I have the policy.
Well, it sounded on the radio that
Over 3,000?
We had already had that.
Anything under 10K, you could just approve.
not from the council,
She's tracking Steve down.
Okay, great.
because it was under $10,000, so we did.
Okay, perfect.
And you can't get quotes on radio, you get
Yeah,
proposals.
I was pretty surprised when I got this quote back. I thought it was gonna be at least double that.
That's not the gentleman that plays the guitar with his wife.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, policy is 3 quotes.
For
what dollar amount?
What dollar amount?
I mean, anything under, well, from 2,000 to 5,000, we need 3 quotes. We just, that's how it is, it's city policy.
So if his quote came in at 1,999,
We still need 3 quotes.
what's the dollar?
Let me get the actual paperwork.
This is going on the record, but it's so confusing working with the city and what you can do, you can't do, quote-wise, and I don't know how we ever learned. I mean, the radio, I was told I didn't have to take it to get to, and you can't get quotes because you're going on rates, and, you want on this station period, that's. Tom knows. Oh, you ready to do this?
Easy goes together. It's these companies. Oh, okay. Okay, talk like you're from Texas.
It's that.
So purchases less than $1,000, you have to obtain quotes, request a purchase order, receive order service, sign off on the invoice records. Purchases greater than $1,000, obtain 3 quotes in writing.
Yeah. So in general, $50,000 is the threshold for competitive RFP or formal bid. And also $50,000 is the threshold for council to have to approve contracts. And there's some other tiers for small purchases, but we're pretty big stricklers about it, even though for things $5,000 and less, it's a little bit more informal. We really do want to see 3 quotes because we owe it to the public to get best obtainable price. But yeah, this is kind of a cheat sheet. But I will say we're also amending our ordinance to increase our threshold for major procurements to 100,000. The state's at 200,000, and to me that seems ridiculous. However, when you think of the cost of a vehicle, that's like $60,000. Those are consumables for us because they have a depreciation. We don't need to go to council every time we're buying a used police car. and delay the process. And one of the problems with that is, I'm gonna hear this, so bear with me. But one of the problems is, for a used car like that, sometimes we have to act very quickly. So we want to be able to add that flexibility to accommodate quickness as well. So if we get 3 quotes in a day, we can award, the contract right then.
Okay. So, Jason, what I'm hearing is you're gonna need 2 more quotes for the vehicle.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Okay,
What's the best way to do that? Do we like put this in front of the public? Does it need to go to the newspaper?
No.
On social media, or what's?
Jason, no, so it's not a formal, so it's really just phone calls to different vendors or emails. Emails are good because then you have it documented that you reached out. But what we typically do is we would email and say, hey, we're looking for pricing to do this. And then give them like 2 or 3 days to respond. If they don't respond, you can count that as a non-responsive. So sometimes we may only get 1 pricing back and no one responds, but at least we've done our diligence.
Now, how do you judge?
I would just have to reach out to some people, and if they don't happen to respond, then that would count towards that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How do you judge quality?
Alright, yeah, I don't think I know anyone else that does this kind of work, but I'll look into it and reach out to them and see if we could get another quote.
How about Carlos Madrid?
That was the first person that came to mind. He's more drone type video, but I will speak to him.
Well, I also saw him comment recently to Anissa that he's not doing anything else until he gets paid for some other things that the city's using. So he might be a little bit put out at the moment. For something.
Yeah, I spoke to him about this on Tuesday, and yeah, he's got some video assets that would be great to use, but we're gonna have to buy them.
How about Steve? Not Tom, Steve.
Don.
But he's definitely one person I'll reach out to and let him put a quote in, and I'll see if I'm sure I can find another one somewhere.
Consider yourself.
I got you.
To question on quality, so if we're doing a full RFP, obviously a big portion, most of the portion of that is evaluating their past qualifications. We want to do our diligence on that. So yeah, I guess what I would say is, it's important that when we're getting the quotes, we're making sure that we're checking the box that they're reputable. It's not inappropriate to ask them for samples, that type of thing, and it's really a best judgment as to the quality. But we do want to be mindful of that too. I think that's a good question, Chris. So what I would recommend is don't get a quote from somebody who you're not already convinced they can do the job.
Okay.
Sure.
So we have one
some
quote.
video assets I can send from Jeff.
Okay. Oh yeah, Jeff.
For some.
Okay.
Yeah, for some other stuff that's done, but I'll circle back with everyone. I guess maybe let's add this to the next agenda, and I'll see if I can have it taken care of by then. But I'll get on it immediately.
I mean, I'm happy to put a line out too. There's no harm if we end up with more than 3 quotes.
Right.
Okay, Tom has to leave in 2 minutes, just.
Yeah,
Most of your phone business
has any
done?
suggestions?
It's like a
reach
primary
out
and
to
zoning guys.
Carlos
Go
and
ahead.
Joe.
Yeah,
okay.
we can do a couple updates.
I tried to steer him, but
All right, so let's get those back and we'll put